Hey guys, and welcome to Captain Charlemagne's Models. I'm your Captain Charlemagne, so let's head over to the bench and see what we're doing for today's project. Hey guys, and welcome to the bench. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Spacecraft Generation Models 1 in 1000 scale resin model of the Federation class Block 1 Dreadnought Starship. So, before we get into this, just piece of advice, we have restarted the NX refit build. So if you have not checked out that video, do please go look at the second video in the set. And now with that out of the way, let's get back into this. So the Federation class Dreadnought was, from my understanding, first introduced in the Franz Joseph technical manual, which I'm pretty sure anybody who considers them a Star Trek fan or a Trekkie know of. It was, I believe, the first time a 3-cell design was introduced, going against the pairs rule or whatever. And it was supposed to be based off the Connie, because the Constitution class was pretty much the shiny new kid on the block that everybody wanted to be like, and they used it as the basis for this class. I believe the Dreadnought is slightly larger and was more geared towards combat against the Klingons than the Constitution class. This is quite literally a ship that pretty much puts the whole Starfleet is only an scientific organization to shame, because this is very much a capital grade battleship. So over the years, be it, I believe it's just in beta canon, this starships have come about aside from this. Of course, you have the traditional USS Federation, which is the name ship of the dreadnoughts. It's often said it was the only dreadnought. Of course, though, you have other ships that have come about, such as the Dominion, the Star Empire, which is the main star of the book Star Trek Dreadnoughts, and was also the inspiration for the director who made the Kelvinverse Star Trek movie, which introduced the Vengeance, which was a dreadnought. You have the Entente, Alliance, many different ships have come up over the years. You also have ships that were based off of but are entirely new classes, such as the Foley class. These ships, the Dreadnought is one of the most famous fan designs that could have become part of actual canon, because of course you see the return of a Dreadnought in the Galaxy X Dreadnoughts that appeared in All Good Days in TNG, which would make a Dreadnought canon. So just by the box art, of course, you get a nice image of the Dreadnought. You can see all 3 nacelles. Something I found interesting, I haven't actually seen it in actual fan art, but I guess this is just how this one was done, because it's a Block 1, is you have phaser ball turrets. So I'm guessing this is probably a prototype, but considering the Dreadnought sits in that interesting position between the original series and the motion picture era, with the refit and the Enterprise A and the Excelsior, it could be said that this is probably when those ball turrets were first being tested out, compared to before. Like if you watch TNG, how there is, not TNG, the original series, how the upper hull is completely smooth. Pretty much all you have is, if you see it, is these little strips here on the corners. This kit according to this, comes with 16 pressure cast resin pieces and decals for 3 names and the numbers for these starships. But enough chit chat about the class in general. Let's look inside and see what we got inside this box. So opening the box, of course you get the first parts. You have your upper saucer. So you do have, of course, here where you have your phaser ball turrets, you have the little the little domes bridge sitting on the edge. You have these 2 spots here, which I'm guessing is your lights, your impulse engine. Turn it over, another turret here. So yeah, these are probably the lights, your lower dome. Pretty nice little chunk of plastic. There is no windows here on the sides, which is understandable because it's resin cast. You're not always gonna have detail like that put on. Next up is our engineering hull. And one thing that always sets the dreadnought design different from, the Connie or other starships is how you have the 4 mounted shuttle pod. You have the spots for the 3 sensors, which create the infamous Mickey Mouse ear kind of thing. The little ball here at the bottom, I do believe, is because this is where I believe what some people are always saying our mega phasers are, as well as here on the rear of the ship. Back here you have another array. I believe this one is simply a communications array. You have the traditional neck of the class, which borrows heavily from the Constitution class. I do know that this has often been considered, be it the Connie or the refit or anything, considered a weakness, and something you usually see with people who do a dreadnought is that this neck is actually went and angled more, so it's not a massive sitting duck kind of thing where people target it, almost like how if you want to take out a Klingon, I believe it's a D7, I think it's a D7, you could always aim for that big neck, which is considered a hazard point. Of course, no detail on the hull, which kind of sad, but hey, we have decals for it. Next out of the box, you of course have nacelles. The very nice detailed pieces here. They do not have the parts on the back end. Those are in this. Something I note when I see this is for people who don't like the idea of using the ones that have all the holes, is they'll take the 1 in 1,000 kit, which has the, I believe that part is for the production version, which has the little ball at the end. They'll put those instead of the other one. That way you have it to where it truly kind of could be considered setting in the point of the motion picture. Not motion picture. Blech. TOS. Period. You have your little your nacelle pylons. These can go in here. Of course, with this thing, it's a case of definitely test fitting, making sure that this part is set right, because you can easily put it on backwards. At the moment, mine is sitting backwards, but it gives you an idea of just be careful when you're doing this, because you never know if you're going to set it on the right way or the wrong way. All right. And surprisingly for this piece, you do have a little bit of detail here. You have your upper mounted nacelle. This one, of course, goes on top of the saucer, like so. Ironically enough, if you didn't want to do this as the dreadnought, you could in fact turn this into a little scout cruiser, because, well, you have a way to make a one nacelle designed starship, and this nacelle could actually be put not just here on the upper saucer section, but you could do it here too at the lower saucer section, thus in a sense creating your own little Saladin class, Hermes class, or even something you want to name yourself, because it'll definitely be unique. Next, you have your little baggie. Of course, you take out the parts. You have the little, you have your dishes for your sensory arrays and everything. You have the end of your nacelles, the little engines. Here you have your bigger one, so I'm gonna keep that in the bag. And of course, here you have, it's still in the bag, but you probably can't see it very well. So let me see if I got it in here. Yes, I do. So you have this little part here, which is, it goes on the end of the sensor arrays, the little antenna, if you will. If you do not want to use the kit provided ones, you could always use the 1 in 1,000 nacelles, but you would need from multiple kits. That way you can replace it, you have more detail. And of course, so you could probably add on here at the end the little antennas, that way making it look slightly different. And of course, finally, the coup de grace for this is, of course, you have your decal sheet. So you have, as I said, you have it for several starships. The decal sheets from GCals. So you have the USS Federation numbers. So you have NCC 2100. You have all the parts that go for it. You have the stuff for the Entente and its part, all its number and its pieces. It would seem, then again, considering this was a pre-owned kit before I got it, that those are in fact the only two decals names I have for this starship, which is kind of sad, because you would think that it says also decals for 3 names and numbers for other starships, but you only have 2. But this would allow you to bring out the detail from the side and everything that was missing previously on the others 4. And so that's gonna conclude our look at the Federation-class TOS / in-between motion picture era dreadnought. I'd like to thank you all for joining me here today. I hope you all have a nice day. I hope you have a nice week. Do take care of yourselves, and I shall see you all again here fairly soon. This has been Captain Charlemagne, and I'm signing off. Ta-ta for now, everyone.